Yes, there are instances through human development where we call an insulin resistance physiological rather than pathological. All of the insulin resistance you and I have been discussing up until this point is pathological insulin resistance. Physiological insulin resistance is a state when the body becomes insulin resistant to serve a purpose. And that purpose is always and invariably to promote growth. Because if you can create an insulin resistant profile or phenotype, all of that insulin and its selective insulin resistance, but remember, it's still insulin sensitive at other tissues, it collectively creates a body that is promoting more anabolism, more growth. And that is utterly essential to the two P's of physiological insulin resistance: pregnancy and puberty. During both of those instances, all accompanied by hyperinsulinemia, because there's no such thing as insulin resistance without hyperinsulinemia. Even in physiological, those bodies, whether it's mother's body trying to grow fat or develop mammary tissue or grow a placenta, even the fetus benefiting from this, or whether it's the young preteen adolescent who needs to go through the most dramatic period of growth in their life, regardless, both of those are instances of massive, rapid growth, and a generally insulin-resistant body facilitates that. And again, it is not harmful. There are times when I describe the insulin resistance of pregnancy, and I'll have someone say, well, how can I mitigate that? And I say, you don't want to mitigate it. Well, you couldn't if you tried. It would be utterly incompatible with the pregnancy if you blocked it. But of course, we don't want it to go too far. Otherwise, the gal shifts over from physiological insulin resistance of pregnancy into gestational diabetes, of course, which is, again, that same state I outlined before. In a healthy pregnant woman, her glucose levels are normal, but her insulin levels are elevated, reflecting insulin resistance. And then if she becomes so resistant to insulin, I would say largely due to a combination of genetics and dietary influence, now she's so resistant to her insulin that she can't control her glucose anymore. Now we say she has gestational diabetes. So yeah, a resounding yes. There are instances of physiological insulin resistance, but a low carb or ketogenic state is not one of them. Remember, because some tissues still respond sensitively to insulin. And in that case, like for example, bone, to my knowledge, bone does not become insulin resistant in the adolescent. And indeed, all that hyperinsulinemia can promote greater bone growth, and the hyperinsulinemia can defend protein synthesis. There was actually a study from the 80s finding that insulin, rather than promoting muscle protein synthesis, it appeared that its main mechanism of action was defending or inhibiting proteolysis, so defending muscle protein.